Hi, welcome to another series of Riverside Monthly. I'm Steve Brazel, and as always, joined for each and every episode by the mayor for the city of Riverside, Mayor Patricia Lock-Dawson. Madam Mayor, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Steve. Thank you for having me today.
It is always a pleasure to see you. We've got 4 segments this month. What do we have coming up?
So first, we're going to talk to Lynn Heatley. She's the founder of Love Riverside and this year's City Spirit Award.
We're also going to talk to Juan Navarro, the founder, creator of Eastside Art House.
And one of the more interesting business owners and managers that I've met, Angel Sanchez Jr., who's the CEO of Phoenix Technology. He's going to talk a little bit about what makes them so unique.
That was such a great segment as well. And then last but not least, our 4th segment, we've got Deborah Mickelson, the creator, founder of Project Becky. Very inspirational episode that one is. Mayor, if people want to find you, where do they go?
Well, they can reach out to me on Instagram and Twitter at Mayor Lock-Dawson, or on Facebook, City of Riverside, Mayor Patricia Lock-Dawson.
I'm going to start at every time I do it with my hand. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 4 great segments, and really honestly, some amazingly inspiring segments this time. Hi, once again, welcome to Riverside Monthly. I'm Steve Brazel. We've got 4 great segments lined up for you this month. This time around, we're going to be talking to the latest recipient of the City Spirit Award. Of course, as always, I'm joined by the mayor for the city of Riverside, Mayor Patricia Lock-Dawson.
Hello, Steve. I'm doing very well. And you today?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be in fall in the city of Riverside, and it's good to see you as well. We've got a guest with us today. I want to welcome Lynn Heatley of Love Riverside to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you. We've got so many questions for you. Mayor, why don't you get us going?
Oh, I'd be happy to, because I love Lynn. I've known Lynn now for a few years. She's the founder and director of Love Riverside, and she is the latest recipient of our City Spirit
Congratulations.
Award.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool. And you know, the whole point of the City Spirit Award, and it was not a hard choice on Lynn. It was a hard choice to decide between all the others, but Lynn really rose to the top. So we recognize your hard work since you started the organization in 2016. But I mean, what got you started? What motivated you to get this started?
Well, I was born and raised in Riverside, have always been in the IE, moved out for a period of time, and then came back and was exposed to some areas called Love Our Cities, where similar citywide movements were happening, and I immediately thought, wow, Riverside could really benefit from serve days, but also collaboration with other nonprofits. That was the one thing that I saw with Riverside, amazing nonprofits, but not everyone was working well collaboratively together, so that was my heart to start.
You kind of described my life, born and raised in Riverside. I left for a little bit, but we all come back because it's such a great place to live, close to the mountains, close to the big city, quote unquote, close to the beach. The organization that you've created is doing such amazing work. You've got over 10,000 volunteer hours on the books now. So I'm curious, with Love Riverside, how are you getting people inspired to get involved?
I think just living it out first, right? I believe in just giving back and having a lifestyle of generosity. If we are blessed, how can we pay it forward? That's how I was raised. So that's so living it out first, not just in words, but in actions. But then also with all the social media and different avenues, inviting people into the greater story of giving back and being part of the good story going on in the city.
I think it's true. People want to work with and for Lynn because she herself is such a hard worker and she does so much in the community. So you're right, you lead by example. And our next event is on October 8th, right? So you've been doing a number of these over the years.
Yes.
So sometimes it's hard. You get somebody to show up for one day, but how do you keep them coming back? And how do you keep them engaged? And how do you get them excited about the work?
Well, I think we try and make it fun too. And it's, our kind of little mantra is demonstrating kindness, spreading goodness, and building community. So we don't just want a one-time, come out and serve and give us some good labor for 3 hours. We really want community to be formed. And some great partnerships have happened over the last, this is year 7 that we're going into. Great partnership that started off with one service project that then people adopted the school to continue on with, all kinds of different organizations now working together that they didn't know about before. So, and then telling that story. It's all about storytelling, and we've got some amazing gifted people on our team that are great at that, and then inviting other people to be a part of the story. So I think Riversiders are known to kind of give back. It's a great community for that, so I think it just lends itself to that.
I agree. The community is we've been talking about it the whole time. It's such a wonderful place to live. Everywhere I go, I just find nice people in the city of Riverside. I love what you're doing with this organization. The mayor mentioned something that I didn't have in my notes about your next event is October 8th. Now, this may air after that, but to give people kind of an idea, I'm going to hit you with two questions at once. One of them is, what is it that's happening on the 8th? And two, if people do want to get involved, find more information, where do they go?
So October 8th, our 7th citywide serve day, go to loveriverside.org. They can go to the project list, look at different projects. Some are in the morning, some are in the afternoon, and they can sign up. And they can also sign up a group. Some projects are really geared for families. We'll have a whole bunch of moms and their kids in strollers at Fairmount Park on October 8th in the morning doing some beautification. We've got some Beautify Riverside projects. And so that's the easiest way for October 8th. But the other thing that we've just started as of yesterday is a year program ending in August of next year called Senior Marketplace. So we are going to 19 different senior apartment complexes in the city of Riverside. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 19 a month. So once a month, food distribution. Yesterday was our first one, and we served over 65 families, and it's marketplace style, so people come and choose the food rather than given a bag, so it's a lot more dignifying, and we're going to make that a fun, creative atmosphere to cheer our seniors. So that's also something that people can get involved with us. And
going on for a full year. So again, if people do want to get involved in this, where do they go?
Loveriverside.org has all of our contact information. They can message me through social media. And we're good at getting back. They can serve on our team, give us some creative ideas. They can partner with us in providing cupcakes for seniors,
or for
whatever. So lots of ways to get involved on our serve day or just year round.
Anything else you want to add in?
Oh, I'm thrilled that we were able to leverage Lynn's work with our Beautify Riverside effort, and we're connecting and doing work with her organization. And I guess I shouldn't say I'm surprised by it, because I'm not, but I'm excited, I'm thrilled, I'm buoyed by the fact that so many people in this town are looking for ways to get involved, and they just need an excuse. They just need someone like Lynn to provide an opportunity.
So everything they need, loveriverside, not .com, it's loveriverside.org. Lynn Heatley of Love Riverside, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
And you've been watching the show, so it's nice to finally have you here in the studio.
It may look peaceful, but there's a storm brewing. A deadly plant disease that can change our landscape forever. Spread by the Asian citrus psyllid Huanglongbing, or HLB, is a death sentence for citrus. The disease is already in our state. Now's the time to inspect your citrus trees and report suspicious symptoms. If HLB is not stopped, all citrus in California is at risk of disappearing. We must act now. Learn how to protect your citrus trees at californiacitrusthreat.org.
Really interested in this one, I've got to say, because it is the 50th anniversary of Phoenix Technology, Inc., a premier provider for fire department helmets for fire departments worldwide. And we're joined by a guest who is the CEO of Phoenix Technology, Inc., Angel Sanchez Jr. How are you, Angel?
I'm good, doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here, man. We got a lot of questions for you. Mayor, why don't you get going?
I'm happy to. I feel like I've spent a lot of time with Angel over the past month because we're celebrating 50 years in business. 5 decades.
Happy anniversary.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, how did you do it? Tell us.
Okay, well, this may sound a little bit cheesy, but I'm going to say love. And it dates back to Ray Russell and Ronnie Coleman, the founders of the company, had a love for the fire industry. They were firefighters themselves, and they felt that they needed to introduce a product that would serve firefighters worldwide better. And so today, 50 years later, I think it's love for our people, love for our customers, love for our suppliers, love for our community. All of that, I think, really kind of reinforces a pretty effective work plan. And as a result of that, here we are 50 years later and seeing, honestly, the most success we've ever seen. So it's a good period.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't think it's corny. I think it's wonderful.
No.
I think we need more of that every day. So.
I completely agree. I heard that you recently said that you're actually in the people business.
Right.
And that success at that business is what allows you to create such a fantastic product. So I'm kind of curious, the environment at work, right? How important is the work environment to your company's success? In the green room before we started recording, I made a joke about dancing and you even said you had dance lessons at work.
Yeah.
So explain that.
So the environment is absolute. It's just the number one thing that you need to work on. And I think, unfortunately, too many business models look at process, they'll look at the numbers, what's our ROI,
Right.
And those are things, of course, I look at and our leadership team looks at. But the absolute number one thing that we have to focus on is the development of a joyful and loving culture. And as a result of doing that over the last 50 years, we've been able to really see year after year success and very low turnover. And we're able to introduce that to people that come to visit. And when you walk in and you experience a few moments with us, you can see that people are happy to be there. And as a result of that, by empowering people, by trusting in them, by loving them, and in love, of course, not in the romantic way, but that type of environment sets you up for success because people give it their all, they're invested, they give 110% at all times. And so your innovation, your efficiency, all of the business metrics that the traditional person looks at, that's kind of the afterthought if you're focusing on alignment, if you're focusing on personal growth, if you're focusing on satisfaction, and ultimately happiness. All those other things naturally trend up. And that's what we found.
To follow up on that, but focusing on that core staff leads to better metrics, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And retention. And in this day and age, man, I can't say retention is so important. Speaking of being happy, I heard when we talked, you said that you really aim to make Monday the happiest day of the week. Okay, like nobody says that, so.
Brings a song by the Boomtown Rats to my mind, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was your thinking there? I mean, why would you say something like that?
Okay, so yeah, you get that Garfield sense of, well, I'm dating myself, but the Garfield sense of the Mondays. This is how I look at things, and this is really how we look at it as a company. There's nothing you do, maybe sleep, but for most of us, I doubt that. There's nothing you do more in your life than work. You spend 40 hours a week. You don't get to spend 40 hours a week with your family, typically. You don't get to spend 40 hours a week actively enjoying a hobby. You work. So work shouldn't suck. It should be something that you truly enjoy. And I've been in those situations where Sunday you're like, oh, I've got to work tomorrow. We want to build an environment where that's not the case, where you kind of look forward to seeing your family members. We don't have employees, we have family members. You look forward to seeing your family members Monday morning. You're going to enjoy your time there. And it's a job. I mean, we have, especially on hot days, it's a little bit more challenging, but we want you to have a good time, and we want happiness to be at the core so that Mondays aren't a drag. And I can tell you how there's a couple things we've seen kind of as temperature gauges. One is people are talking to each other even on vacation. They're communicating, like sharing pictures or sharing stories. They're reaching out to each other. That tells you they miss their family. The other thing is the excitement that people have when they return. Like, they're happy to be back. And those are just little things. There's a whole series of things that I look at to see is what's the temperature of the culture like. And Mondays you're going to be spending the next 40 hours in that environment, so why not enjoy it?
It was something that was interesting for me to find out is that you do fully immersive tours.
We do.
On Tuesdays by appointment. So the Monday happens first, right? And then Tuesdays you do the tours to give people kind of a look behind the scenes at what you guys do. If somebody were to do one of these, what would they expect to see?
Sure. So we've done thousands of tours, or thousands of people at least, maybe a few hundred tours from people all over the world. So we've had people from Japan to Germany to Australia come visit us. And really it started with kind of a focus on lean manufacturing, but it transitioned into an experience of our culture, which is based around lean, respect for people and continuous improvement. But what they really will expect to see is how a fully functional, happy, joyful, loving culture can make such a difference in your workplace. And so you'll start with us at 7 in the morning, and you'll be introduced to some of the lean concepts that we practice. So we have department meetings, then we have a standardized method. We call it 3S'ing, but it has to do with how we essentially strive to make life better. So like when you come by, you're going to notice we're not building helmets the first hour of the day. We're not taking emails. We're not answering phones. We're working to make life better for each other. And so we're improving our processes. Our place is very, very clean. For a factory, it's pretty spotless.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, we keep it clean, and it's that way all day long. But the mornings are spent and they're standardized. And so when you come in, you're going to learn a little bit about that standardization. You're going to learn about our core values, better people, better products, better world. We're going to introduce you to those concepts. Then you're going to actually join in our actual tailboard session. So we stand around the campfire every morning at 7:30, and we share our successes, we share educational components, we study some philosophy, we start with gratefuls, most important thing you can do, and all of that takes place every day. We've never missed, at least in the last 7 years, and so you're going to get to experience that. And then you get to go around and visit with each department and learn what does it mean to them. And I'm not the one doing the tour. It's other people, it's our people, so that you can get a genuine, honest reflection, because I can sell you on how great it is, but when you see it in person and you talk to people and you get to ask questions, then of course, it kind of reinforces the reality of what's taking place. And so I'm really summarizing it quickly because it's about 3 hours and it's somewhat intense, but we want you to see the full experience. And then I will meet with people at the end. I'll have like an executive review and I'll answer the questions like, does it really make sense to have this meeting every day? Does it really make sense to take away from production? And of course I challenge leaders. Do you really think people give you 8 hours a day? Because I can guarantee we get 7 or 8 hours. We work a 10-hour day, we work 4-10, but we get a strong 8 hours of full investment every single day from our people because we empower, we trust, and we love them. And sometimes it'll resonate, and sometimes it won't. But we welcome people for that reason. And the reason we do this, we don't charge for it. We don't get customers out of it. It's not like people that are purchasing helmets are coming. It's part of our Leaving the World a Better Place initiative. And we're hoping that if we can change the culture in other companies, we can change the world and leave it a better place.
Mm. And he's been on TripAdvisor, I think, by the way, with the museum.
We have a great museum. Yeah.
So that's a whole nother that's a whole nother segment which we can have Angel back to talk about. But where can people go find out more about Phoenix? So
our website, of course, phoenixfirehelmets.com. Our marketing team is wonderful in social media. So we have, you name it, there's things I haven't even heard of before, but Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, of course, is a great one for business connections. And then if you're interested in coming to visit us, you just send an email to learn@phoenixfirehelmets.com. And you have to remember that Phoenix, the city spelled it wrong. It's actually Phenix, so phoenixfirehelmets.com. And we'd be happy to welcome anyone, and we've always been that way. And you can take pictures and you can get a full experience by joining us on a Tuesday morning.
Well, we appreciate you joining us here on This Morning. Angel Sanchez Jr., CEO of Phoenix Technology, Inc. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
We're going to be talking to the creator of the East Side Art House. First of all, joined as always by the mayor for the city of Riverside, Mayor Patricia Locke Dawson. Madam Mayor, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. I'm so happy to be here.
It's wonderful to see you, and we've got a great guest, and this one's going to go some really fun places, so make sure you stay with us for the whole segment. We've got with us Juan Navarro, the creator of the East Side Art House. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good to have you with us. Mayor, why don't you get us going?
Well, if you haven't been there, I would encourage you to go by. We just had an open house there, but I know, Juan, you say that you created this space, I think about a year ago, right?
Yes.
And it was what you state as a haven for independent artists. I mean, do you feel like you're nailing that mission? Is that, and why did you feel that was necessary?
Yes. So we'll start backwards.
Okay.
I'll say why was it necessary? Well, really, what inspired me to create a space like this is because growing up, I was passionate about art. I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't really see it as a career for myself because I just heard how difficult it would be. Mm-hmm. And even going to the museum, it was like, oh, this is a sacred space. I don't know if I'll ever be in it. But I, taking art classes and just getting involved in high school and just pouring myself into art when it was free through education, right? I'm like, you know what, maybe I can. And I pursued it. But in my journey, I needed answers. I'm like, so what does it mean to be an artist? What is fine art? And maybe there's some local artists in Riverside that can help me out. And I try looking around, trying to reach out to different artists to see if they would support me in my growth, and it was very difficult. Basically, they were also figuring it out. And so then I realized, I'm like, all right, well, if this is something that I need to do on my own, then that's fine. And I just spent tons of time, like the last 7 years, just researching on what that meant. And I realized that maybe Riverside doesn't need another gallery of another artist. What it needs is a space that incubates artists, that teaches them the ropes of what it means to be a professional, how to write a contract. And I've been able to have a successful journey so far, completing over 12 public murals in Riverside. And I created this space to continue to build more artists up that are interested in just like being involved in our community, in the museum, and growing our local art scene.
There are so many things. I'm literally sitting here taking notes going, don't forget to say this, because you said a couple of things that really struck me. One, teaching them how to write a contract, right? It's those types of thoughts that really resonate with me. But you said something else I find fascinating. The reverence that you had for the museum space, that it's a sacred space. That the way you worded that is special to me. At the Art House, you offer day, week, and monthly options, right? Yes. For both, and by the way, this is not just emerging artists, but it's professional artists as well. Mm-hmm. But for those young artists that are just getting started, that flexibility that you're offering, how important is that?
Yeah, so I also grew up in a family that we didn't really have much. So it was 6 people. We all lived in one bedroom because we were basically at the brink of homelessness growing up. So just growing up, seeing that not everyone may have the resources to have their own private studio, this is an opportunity for someone that may not be supported in the home of being an artist. Maybe they need a healthy environment and be alongside people that are producing art and they're engaged in the community. So I think it was important to keep the price low at $200 a month. And secondly, just share as much wisdom, and it's like a research space too. So we're always learning, we're always collaborating. We have a project we're working with the mayor right now. One of our artists, Ekaterina Orlovy, she's part of the Beautify Riverside initiative. So there's growth, and there's growth that adapts to what's currently happening in our city too.
Yeah, and I'm about holding up and uplifting their artists too. So that's why we have a number of artists, I think, that are doing Beautify Riverside murals for us. So, I love it that you chose the East Side for the art house, and I'm wondering how important was that to you? That I know that wasn't by accident.
Oh yeah, so my journey is. A lot of my art is social practice art. So what that does, why was Juan able to complete 12 murals? Like, it sounds crazy, but they all look different, I promise. Like, maybe even if you drove by them, you wouldn't realize that it was the same artist over and over. But the reason why these projects were meaningful to the community is because we were able to engage them in the process. There's been over our recent Park Avenue storefront revitalization project on Park Avenue. We've done 6 stores. All of them were engaged with volunteers and community members and received feedback of what they wanted in their community. Mm-hmm. So there was over 100 volunteers in that program. that even came out and painted those murals with us. So that's kind of like a modernization of, like, it's just not a cool artist that paints a cool mural. It's also it's an artist that includes people to create these beautiful murals in their city. So that way, it's not just one person proud of that mural, it's an entire community. So it's important that I continue my journey and legacy in terms of including the community that I worked with this whole time. So I'm like, maybe my residency, maybe forever or maybe temporary, but at least that if I started a private business, then I could still like have that thank you love letter through providing the first studio in the East Side, because they're the reasons why I even had these opportunities to begin with. So that's why it's important to me.
And his whole just, you know, spirit of community is why it's such a natural fit with Beautify Riverside, because it's we have the same goals, I think, with it. So
100%.
It comes through, like, I'm literally transfixed. First of all, you said people come paint them with you. Never thought about that, never realized that happened. In fact, your journey as you've described it, from where you started to now having this business and spurring other artists on, it is really, really inspiring, I gotta say, which kind of fits in the art realm as well. If people want to know more, where do they go?
Yes, so www.eastsidearthouse.studio. And yeah, just check us out. We recently did a Not Made for Exposure art show. So you guys, there's tons of fresh art that our studio has made in collaboration with the members that are part of the studio. Currently we have 15 members. And that's just something that we're really proud of that we recently accomplished.
yeah.
So if you are an artist, aspiring pro, and looking for a place to go to be inspired, to do your work, to get involved, whatever it is, again, it's eastsidearthouse.studio. Head on over there, get the information that you need. Mayor, as always, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Juan, for coming by, and what all you do for the community. It's really important. Thanks.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Got junk too big for the trash can? Then call 311 to schedule a bulky item pickup. Riverside residents get 2 free pickups a year, but you gotta follow 3 simple rules. Bulky items must be curbside by 5:30 a.m. the day of your pickup, light enough for 2 people to lift, and the total volume can't be larger than 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. If you got a lot of junk, check out our bulky item and e-waste drop-off events held several times each year. Bulky item pickup. Call us today and we'll haul it away.
And this show, we're going to be talking to the creator of Project Becky. It is Deborah Mickelson. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice for you to join us.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it is. You know, I had the pleasure of getting to know Deborah, in not under such great circumstances, as we were working on some legislation to help folks who were suffering from mental illness and addiction. And you managed to start Project Becky because of a very painful episode in your personal life. And you might want to talk about that and just tell us how you were able to channel that into something so positive.
Sure. Well, the reason I started Project Becky was because of the passing of my sister, Rebecca, on April 18, 2021. She passed from mental illness. And after Becky passed, I was so angry. I was angry feeling that the system that was supposed to protect her failed her. And I could not believe that this was the best thing we could do as a society, as a humanitarian society for people in her condition. And so I decided I would turn that anger into action. And I wanted to help change the system that I felt failed her, and to maybe bring hope to families who were suffering like my family did. And that's when I started Project Becky.
Okay, so now I understand the Project Becky part of it. Amazing how you took that kind of life experience and made something really beneficial and positive out of it. What is the biggest misconception that people might have about people that are experiencing homelessness, especially those that are suffering from some mental issue?
As we tried to get Becky help, it was difficult because it seemed like the laws that were not in place to help her. So, but we, as her family, were there to try to help her with paperwork, with documents, appointments, transportation. And it was so difficult because the system seemed so fragmented. So can you imagine somebody who is mentally ill, homeless, suffering from these delusions, these voices? They have no phone, they have no family to help them. Imagine how impossible it is for them to get help.
Right.
So, Deborah, this is obviously a tragedy. It was not just a tragedy for your sister, but your entire family. And the fact that you tried to get her help and you weren't able to get the help you needed because of the system. So most recently, I asked you for your advice and thoughts on the CARE Court, which is the new initiative by Governor Newsom that was just signed into law. Which, by the way, I mentioned your nonprofit to him when we were discussing this. He received a lot of criticism. CARE Courts has received some criticism about it being coercive or driving people into things they don't want to do. And I'm just curious, based on your own experience with your sister, Becky, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, CARE Court is exactly what I was praying for and exactly what Project Becky is about. And it became important because, 10 days before she passed, we went to see a conservatorship attorney, my husband and I, and we were told that we could not, as her sister, I could not initiate a conservatorship because it just wasn't possible. It either had to go through police and then a doctor, but myself, her sister, who knew her best, we couldn't have this done. And we left that meeting so heartbroken because what do we do next? And she had become so despondent and withdrawn, and we felt that she was in grave danger. So 10 days after we walked out that lawyer's office, she committed suicide in a tent behind an abandoned building about a mile from our home. And so that was, So people who say CARE Court is a bad thing, I say, my sister never, I had a sister named Rebecca. I loved her. She no longer has a voice, and she never stood a chance in the system that was in place when she was alive. To those that say it's coercive, I say, what good is the 14th Amendment right now to Becky? I say to them, I had a mother-in-law who had Alzheimer's. I have a son who has Down syndrome. As a community, we would never, leave them out on the street to suffer alone and languish. So I would say to them, why was it okay for my sister Becky, who was severely mentally ill, to be allowed to languish and die on the street? And I just wanted to say that CARE Court is not about stripping liberties. It's not about taking away fundamental freedoms. It's about trying to help the most vulnerable that cannot help themselves. And I hope that it will help bring hope to families who are going through what we went through, that there is hope. And it also gave me solace that my sister's death was not in vain, and that there is hope for a better tomorrow.
Again, I just have to say, the fact that you took this family, very personal tragedy, and turned it into something that can help people, something that's positive with Project Becky, is amazing. You're an inspiration. If people want to know more about Project Becky, where would they go?
They can go to www.projectbecky.org.
Okay, projectbecky.org. So again, Deborah Mickelson, the creator of Project Becky, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Sharing your story and Project Becky with us. I appreciate it. Mayor, always good to see you.
You too. This is a passion of mine, Deborah, and we're going to see justice for Becky.
Thank you.